Top Deck Heroes. We're down to our normal staff tonight. We got Kevin Broberg
Hey,
and
it's me.
um, me, Sean O'Brien. Kevin Broberg, I accidentally got ahead on the schedule a little bit, and I've got your big surprise up right now.
Oh, let's go. It comes with a price.
Tell us about It Comes with a Price, Kevin Broberg.
All right, so this is the first champ card I ever won. This was Legacy 2013 with a borrowed deck. I think it was the first. It might
That's
not have
not
been
the
the first
first
one.
champ card you won. The first card you
Oh
won was
no,
Millennium Games and
the
Hobbies.
first singles card I ever won, and this was for a Legacy tournament. And at the so I borrowed a Truong deck from Garrett Brett and beat him in the finals, which is the immediate the immediate kind of frontline meaning of it comes to the price. You lend your deck out, and sometimes that deck has to beat you in the finals. And also the story and the art is that I started the tournament 1-2, and then there was a lunch break, and I might have even started like 2-1. I don't remember, but I know I lost early to Piglet. Actually, he beat my face in with a King signature style deck. Just like play every throw in his discard pile every turn for a pile of momentum. Um, and I was playing Evil Truong, and like we went out to lunch, and I was like kind of half sarcastically like, man, if I lose another one, I'm just gonna like quit. We can like, hey guys, let's all go draft. And Garrett kind of gave me a pep talk. I remember that. I know we all got Chick-fil-A, and so that's the origin of the chicken sandwich, like being held up to me as I'm beaten down in my corner with my pile of losses already at the start of the tournament. And I remember also at that, Tim Keefe dropped all his food all over the floor, which is another kind of subtle meaning of um, the kicked over bench chair thing. So yeah, it's a foundation. It got changed a little bit in design. It used to have a more cohesive meaning with the name and the flavor text and everything, but now it's a really cool bridging the races variant where if you manage to land a hit on your opponent, it's like Summer Heat where it readies itself, and it's in a rarefied air of one difficulty unique foundations. We haven't had many of those in the history of the game, and I thought it'd be cool to kind of give you a little bit more hot bridging the races action. The self-readying foundation get a lot of fun games with that, and also not be too overwhelmingly staple tiers, too overwhelmingly overpowered like that.
Well, why don't you tell all the kids at home what it does?
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. So it's a 1/5 unique foundation, as you may already know from what I just said, and it has two abilities. It's got a response. I think the response is actually second. So at first, it's got an enhanced commit. You can look at your momentum and rearrange it. So this is an ability that I love to have because I hate like the stupid memory game of remembering what my momentum is. And plus, sometimes you want to peek and you get momentum from the top of your deck. You want to know what it is. This lets you do that. And then it has a response. After you gain a momentum, play well committed, you can ready it. And so that lets you get two uses out of it. You have to pay costs, and then if you like get a momentum with a card like reactive style or just from an attack dealing damage, boom, there's your you get your foundation back, and you get to play the game out a little bit with a little bit of an advantage, which is it's not overwhelming, and I think it's just the right amount of advantage.
Kevin Broberg, this card seems like it would be more playable with a block.
They always say that, but the real truth is that if it didn't have a block, you would play it less often. You would hold it to block with. And when you put my card in your deck, I want you to play my card. I want you to put it in I want you to put it in your deck knowing I want this card in play. I want Kevin to help me out. I need his assistance. And this card is a 5 check. It's a spam, and it'd be really inappropriate if it comes to the price and it has no drawback whatsoever. So it can't have a block. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, I'm just saying, there are other 1/5 water cards that ready themselves that have blocks.
You're right. I shouted out bridging the races. It shares two with that, I think, right?
Yeah, you share two symbols.
Chaos and water, and those are two symbols I greatly enjoy right now. Uh, and before anyone says it, this card is in fact backdoor support for Felicia. I think she's underpowered and she needs more help on her non-air symbols. I'm that actually never crossed my mind until just now, but it was totally an Illuminati conspiracy since the beginning of time.
I mean, why would you run this card instead of Battle Royale?
Well, Battle Royale doesn't ready itself. If you tap Battle Royale to pass a control check, it doesn't do anything. This card's secret third ability is its most powerful one, which is commit your check gets +1. You can do that 3 times in a turn cycle, Sean O'Brien.
Well, why don't I just run Tamidi Wangi instead? That lets me ready a face down at the cost of flipping.
Yeah, you only get to do that once. You can do this 3 times in a turn cycle, Sean O'Brien. That only gives you 2.
Why
And
don't
only
I
twice
run the
in the whole
mysterious
game.
Mr. X? I mean, with one less control, I can add a premeditated attack to my staging
You know
area
what's really
and destroy
good?
it and get a new foundation.
You know what's really good, Sean O'Brien? If you build a water deck with some copies of It Comes With a Price, some copies of Bridging the Races, and some copies of Mysterious Mr. X, you can use Mysterious Mr. X to add a copy of the Power of Dark Energy to your staging area, and then destroy it. And then when it gets destroyed, you get a momentum, an ally attack from your momentum to your from your discard pile to your momentum, and then they'll let you ready. The destruction will let you ready Bridging the Races, and the momentum will let you ready It Comes With a Price. So that's all your all your spam foundations doing double duty.
You know, developmental years readies foundations when I check it. That seems pretty good. I don't even have to play that card, and it has a 3 block.
You know, I did ask, could I have a Big Bong control check trigger, and I was told correctly that everyone hates those, and they were not interested in letting me do that.
I mean,
Who
design for
doesn't hate?
combat gives me a block, and I get to draw a card for discarding a card.
You know, Sean O'Brien, you can talk to me about Design for Combat when you top 16 worlds.
I've top 16 worlds.
Did you do it with Design for Combat in your deck?
Nope. I did
That's
it
what
with
I
Add a
thought.
Syndicate in my deck.
That's what I thought. One of these cards is not like the other. One of these cards is good.
That's true. Add a Syndicate is good, and this card is not. Kevin Broberg, this card is actually pretty good against my card, Rochester CCG.
I don't know. It does a little bit of stuff.
I mean,
It certainly doesn't get defeated by Rochester CCG that easily, but the momentum hate is probably strategically pretty alright against me.
I've used Rochester CCG to specifically discard people's specific momentum before, because CCG does let you do that if you can keep track of
Yep.
where momentum goes.
Oh, I get to rearrange. I can play the shell game.
You can play the shell game because you're allowed to rearrange it. That's pretty cool. Overall, I think this card's pretty cool. I mean, it does something if you attack and you deal damage. I think you get rewarded for that. It kind of falls in the type of space with Summer Heat like that, where you're supposed to get rewarded for attacking. You commit it, and then you get to ready it later. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's cool. I wish I had a block. That's my big problem with it because it's a 1/5 unique. So if you put like 2 or 3s in your deck and you draw a second one when you have one in your staging area, that card's literally dead in your hand.
Yeah. You know. Yeah, it's pretty dead in your hand. But it's just like fail a control check, tap it, and then play the new one. It's not that bad.
I guess that's true, except you're probably going to ready the
You're
one
probably
that's in
gonna
your
ready
staging
it.
area.
Well, hey, make sure you play some cards like Design for Combat or some improved designs, some mysterious a bunch of cards we named actually. Mysterious Mr. X, clear out those dead cards in your hand. I really like that kind of effect. That lets you play extra copies of uniques. Just a baseline rate for a generic card in your hand.
Kevin Broberg, you could do some silly things with Breaking Bread in this card.
Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah.
You add it to your staging area with Mysterious Mr. X. You get a momentum. You get to ready. It comes with a price.
Mhm. Oh man.
Seems like a lot of work for very little gain.
Hey
Especially
man.
since you got to run Breaking Bread off symbol with Mr. X.
Hey man, I think you're absolutely right that is a combination of cards that is slightly greater than the sum of its parts. And I'm all about the small edges. I love the small edges. That's where my heart goes out to in this game is, getting all the little edges, doing all the things just right, and then coming out ahead in a close game. That's the most satisfying feeling.
Now, Kevin Broberg, my understanding is, unlike the scrubs in our chat here, this is only the first in a series of champ cards coming out this cycle for you.
That is correct. I'll be having 3 cards dropping that are going to be on the streets by July 1st, and I plan to share them with you for the coming weeks.
You got this card and
I've got
A
I
blue
have the
card.
trifecta coming out in the I think it's the 4 bar watermark, the or the IV. Actually, I haven't. Let
It's
me look
it's
at
a
it. Is there
Roman
a watermark
numeral
right there?
4.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. In the so I have the full trifecta. I have the character, the foundation, the action, and the asset.
That's not a
For winning
trifecta. That's 4.
the whatever the full set. The full. I have the quadruple. Is there a name for like winning 4 things? That's kind of unusual, I
The
think.
quadruple crown.
Yeah. Anyway, I have all 4 cards coming out in this cycle.
Cool.
Um,
So perhaps maybe we'll be spoiling some more of those next week.
yep. I'd planned. Let's put up. Bring your friends for next week. What do you
Ooh,
think?
I think so. In the chat, I would like you guys to speculate for the rest of the show. What do you think Bring Your Friends does? Kevin Berber, will you give them a hint as to what type of card it is?
This is the blue card.
It's a blue card. So we'll have a challenge here. We're gonna have a challenge in the chat tonight. The person who can most accurately guess the ability that Bring Your Friends has will receive a prize next week on Top Deck Heroes.
Yeah. And Jesse, you're disqualified because I've told you what it does. I see you out there. I see you.
All right, let's move on to some news. We had some news this week. Jasco Games announced that the starter decks are going to be legal on June 27th.
Yep. So we've got a firm release date for the complete Street Fighter experience to be in our hands, and it's I saw on Facebook actually earlier that Shane had sent out a picture of just the turbo decks, the Ryu and the Chun Li themselves. So it's great to see that these are going to be coming out through the through the organs, through the pipelines, through the series of tubes, and they'll be showing up. I gotta imagine they're gonna nail this date, right? Like every store is gonna have them. They're gonna come out all at the
Oh,
same time.
God, I hope so. I mean, they've already botched this one. Speaking of things I hope they don't botch, coming up this weekend is the San Antonio PTC. So they're in
Yes.
a really interesting meta because they have only about 2/3 of the Street Fighter set out.
Yep.
So
Well, from one
actually
point of
about
view,
3/4 because you can't play any of the starter deck cards
yeah.
in the San Antonio PTC. So no Ryu, no Chunners. So it's not going to be a complete look at the format.
Yeah, I think we've already seen a couple pretty high impact cards out of the Turbo Deck spoilers that might actually make a pretty good mark on the format. I particularly in mind there's the Ryu Foundation that it changes attacks to mid zone. I think that's a really potent piece. Um, but I think that by and large, I think we'll definitely see a lot of new cards in play this weekend. We'll see the absence of King of Fighters 1, Shiranui no Mai, um, Team Fatal Fury support like Kapoken Training, and the new Street Fighter replacements for those cards. I think we'll definitely see all those kind of things in play.
So yeah, that's coming up at San Antonio this weekend. I think some guys from the Jasco Games crew are planning to be there. All right, so that's actually kind of it for the news. Kevin Broberg, this is kind of a short format show. Did we have anything else we really want to discuss tonight? Actually, I take that back. There's something I do want to discuss. I want
Yeah,
to discuss. We had our first tournament last week, post rotation. We had 4 people show up because we actually played it on a Thursday due to some obligations.
that's right.
I think we saw some pretty cool decks. Not going to go into much detail on what they do because we do have a PTC coming up here in about 4 weeks here in Rochester. But what are your thoughts on the format so far, Kevin?
Um, by and large, I feel like I don't know. I think that it's a wide open format. There's some really cool stuff kind of floating around. I want to shout out Guile as a deck I've seen a lot of people talking about, who is a very, very interesting kind of combo engine we're going to see, I think, in play. You know, nobody really knows exactly what he does, how he does it, or where he goes, except that he hits you like a truck just by throwing fat stacks of damage at your face with that +3 enhance on him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he does some cool explodey stuff, I guess. We're going to have to see how that goes. And I think that Vega is really good.
Yeah,
It would not surprise me at all to see a lot of Vega.
yeah, I think we'll see a lot of Vega this weekend. I think that we'll see some old standards come around because it's stuff that people are comfortable with. The character I'm most interested to see what people do stuff with is DJ. I think he
Really?
has a lot of potential to have big damage, big speed. I think that people are going to get caught kind of in a bad way. Late in the turn, not blocking, and then attacks are faster than they expected, or blocking and then there's a throw. It's got +2 damage. Yeah, but don't run
All right,
charge. Don't
cool.
don't run charges in DJ. Run like anything else.
Interesting. I don't think I got a chance to play against DJ in any of our things so far, and I don't know. I hate giving my opponent the control over what's going on. I
Well, I
feel
mean
like,
they're gonna
strong
block or
players can
not
chart.
block anyhow.
Yeah.
Jesse was talking about T-Hawk. I actually had an experience playing against Mr. Hawk this weekend. I was playing an incredibly defensive deck,
Yep.
and that that is a nail biter. Uh, T-Hawk's ultra rare, I think, is the pretty much the only thing making him playable right now.
I wouldn't say the only thing making him playable is extremely good.
And having sat on the receiving end of Mexican Typhoon, I am so glad that Dimitri is banned. Dimitri, oh, we're on turn 15, and I've played some Spiders and Dragons, and I've played some other things that flip
Yeah.
your board, and you've paid costs. It's like, well, my Mexican Typhoon gets plus 17 damage, and I flipped all your anti-throw cards, and thanks for playing.
Yeah.
Oh, and it gets 2 more damage from Darkside Master, of course.
I was always big into using cards like Peaceful Messenger, Leaf Shield, Split Body, even
Yeah, except
to as a
Dimitri has access to
nobody plays
CCG.
Rochester CCG. Nobody plays that card. Don't
That's
be silly.
because everyone's bad.
I think that Rochester CCG is a card. So here's the thing: is that this is an important lesson. So when you're building a deck, I think in UFS tournaments, you have to know who you're playing against, like who you expect to play against. And there's only so many me's that enter the tournament who like think like who like build decks at like, okay, here's what I expect my opponents to do. Here's how I'm going to beat them. A lot of people say, here's what's my deck going to do. They say like this is like how many levels of meta are they operating on? And I think Roster CCG is a trump for people who are like on second or third level meta. Like who are saying, well, what's my opponent going to do? How are they going to react to that? How am I going to react to their reaction? And I think that that kind of level of like A to B to C to D, just like that doesn't come up very much. And I think that it's kind of trumping something that you're not going to run into that often. Really, you just don't see a lot of leaf shields in tournament decks. You don't see a lot of peaceful messengers in tournament decks.
When you're playing mono
Uh,
throws, you see a lot of those things come in after sideboarding.
yeah, maybe that's true. Maybe.
Shane Duckworth just announced that he is going to be at the San Antonio PTC with JC and Ryan Pham. We'll see if JC is actually as good as people think he is, or if it was just a really soft tournament here in Las Vegas a couple weeks ago. I'm gonna go with a
Yeah,
really.
man, he's made some deep runs at Worlds. He's made some deep runs at PTCs when he didn't drop out of them.
I'm gonna say it was a soft tournament. I mean, I don't think we prepped hard enough, and that's why we lost.
Maybe, maybe.
Maybe. Maybe. So actually, there was another bit of news because we're gonna just ramble on, kind of weaving about tonight. I saw last week Legendary Wolf Games went to Combo Breaker, which my understanding is it is a fighting game tournament convention thing, and they put together a really nice booth to promote UFS. I think they did a really great job. I'd like to see
Yeah,
some more of that. I think that was pretty awesome, getting more people into UFS, which is good.
yeah. The
So
pictures were.
congratulations to them.
I love the pictures from that event. I love the fighting game community celebrities who picked up UFS, who might, uh, serve to sort of spread the word. I'm trying like there's
The gospel.
proselytize for the game to get more people following it and entering into the community and helping us grow that way. It's great to have new faces, and I think a lot. I mean, a lot of these guys have been, they've been on stream before. They've built followers in communities that way. They've got people like coming together to play the fighting games. I can play the trading card games too, maybe, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Soon people will be able to go to conventions with the Street Fighter starter decks. I think will be really helpful for getting new people to play,
Yeah.
being able to hand them a product and say, here, this is playable out of the box. Plus, you get, I think you get a pair of ultra rares on those.
Yep. It's good value.
Yeah, I think they're priced very reasonably at RochesterCCG.com. I just want to check the price real quick because I don't even remember what I priced them at. Some number of dollars.
Enough dollars.
Enough. I think it's right around $18 or $19, which I think is actually pretty reasonable for two turbo decks plus two ultra rares. Ultra rares are actually really, 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 really high right now. So if you can get a bunch of these things, you could actually end up, making a fair bit of money and getting good value out of it.
Yeah. Do you want to talk? So do you want to talk briefly about how this set release has been going for you as a retailer? How's the flow been going
Oh
compared to previous
well,
set releases?
as some of our customers who are in the chat know, I ran out of product last week. We ordered. I won't go into exact numbers, but I will say we have gone through double at this point what we've gone through at this point on any other release.
Wow.
So, two
And
weeks.
we're how many weeks out? Yeah.
So 2 weeks after the set released, we've ordered double than we've gone through double than what we did when we released Blood Omen. We are twice, more than twice we were than we were for Battle for Power. So I think that's really good. And I'm sure other retailers are kind of feeling the pinch too, where you can't get the product in fast enough, which is good because people really like Street Fighter. But I think some improvements need to be made to the distribution network to make sure that product can be gotten to stores pretty quickly. But the set has been amazing for us. I think it's been amazing for our customers. It's been amazing for stores that we work with. All in all, I think it's a huge win for everybody. I don't. Chaz asking if the set will be out of print in a month. I don't suspect so. I have to imagine the bright and brilliant minds at Jasco Games probably, hopefully, printed a shitload of this set because everyone was pretty good.
Yeah, I have to wonder if there's going to be a reprint policy, if they're going to, have a second wave should they manage to sell out of. What I hope that they hopefully they correctly predicted that they would have a titanic wave of sales of this set. That having this top tier license again, this license that will really bring people in. That's got a huge presence. It's a huge Street Fighter is a huge brand already, and a lot of people connect with it already. That would bring in a lot of people, a lot of purchases, and so they probably took steps in advance. They probably predicted that to an extent, and they prepared for it.
Well, I think
But
I have to imagine they're prepared for a second print run. If you look at the legal line at the bottom of your cards, and they're not like this on UFS Ultra, but it says first at the bottom next to the set
yep,
number. Yeah, but don't bother looking at it on Ultra; they're not there. But pull anything from this set out of your collection, you'll see it says first, which would lead me to believe that's kind of an opening to let's do a second printing, let's do a third printing, let's do a fourth printing, if necessary. And it's nice for
yep.
collectors because people like to have first
I,
edition
I,
stuff.
I, w- I was an OG. Yeah, I was here at the start.
I think the other thing that I think is going to be really good for us is that Platinum set coming out sometime in the future. With the huge growth with Street Fighter, there's going to be a lot of players who need cards from sets that are out of print. The Tins, Warriors of the Night, and Rise of the Masters. So those probably can't come fast enough. So I'm really hoping that we get those out soon so that people can get foil copies of their stuff, which is always super cool. I like to have my deck all pimped out with shiny stuff. And
Yeah, man.
yeah, and my understanding is that's how they're going to reprint Warriors of the Night and Rise of the Masters is through the Platinum Collection. So that's going to be super cool. I think things are going pretty well at Jasco Games right now. are on track, hopefully, for Cowboy Bebop release here in late August, and then Street Fighter versus Darkstalkers.
Yeah,
The
time will tell exactly when these things, how exactly these things are going to turn out. But we've got good signs right now. We've got good omens. I'm personally extremely excited about the champ card releases, both for my cards and all my friends' cards. Hopefully, we don't see any of these become tournament dominating staples like they have in the past, and we get good fun, good clean fun, so to speak.
Well, from what I've seen of the new Phil Birch character card, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think probably you just got super screwed on your card abilities.
I'm very satisfied with what I came out with. I've been in development hell, so to speak, for a long time. My cards, these certainly aren't the first time. It's like these aren't the first time I've been around the block on these cards. There's been a lot of iterations, a lot of different designs, a lot of different approaches, and I also dragged my feet terribly getting my art done until earlier this year. But I'm really excited. I'm excited. I'm very happy with what I got, and I'm really excited to start with the art off too, because I think I got Gunship Revolution to print out all my art, and they did an incredible job.
Yeah, the art is. I think for what we've seen of the champ cards so far, we've seen your card and we've seen Phil Birch's card, and the art actually looks really, really, really good.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
fortunately,
I don't have any meta in any of my arts. It's just it's playing it straight. It's a picture. Phil Birch is signing himself. Garrett was looking at a painting of itself of himself in the Dimitri playoff art, but none of mine have that. But they're all just straightforward pictures.
oh man. All right, I think that wraps up the show. Let's talk about some upcoming events. We have through July up here. So this weekend is the San Antonio PTC, Magic Beans Gaming, and then here in 4 weeks we have a twofer for PTCs. So there's going to be the Calgary PTC July 15th at Eastridge Hobbies, and the premier PTC of the summer at Millennium Games and Hobbies in Rochester, New York. So
Yeah, I want to give a quick shout out to the Calgary event because that sounds really cool.
they're at the
It's during the
Stampede, right?
Calgary Stampede, yeah, which is some kind of bizarre ritual involving cows, I think.
Well, that's what a rodeo is.
It's a major event. It's an international sensation. If you're in the neighborhood, if you've ever wanted to see Calgary during that time of year, probably just cool off from the hot Atlanta, the hot world down south a little bit. I'm sure even Rochester might be a little bit balmy. You can go check that out. It'll probably be really awesome. But if you're on the East Coast, there's no excuse not to come to the Rochester PTC. It's going to be the best event of the year. Rochester CCG's hometown. It's going to be great, man.
Kevin Broberg, you know that Calgary is in a continental climate, right? So it's likely to actually be warmer than Rochester.
Really? Idiots. I don't know. I don't know how weather works, Sean O'Brien. I haven't looked at a book
Didn't
in years.
you like take a 10th grade earth science class or some shit like that? Crickets. Cricket.
that was boiled.
Cricket.
It was like boiled in with
Cricket.
chemistry that year. It was
Cricket.
really weird. It was
Cricket.
really
Cricket.
really rapid.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So
I agree with Chad. I would totally go to the Calgary Stampede if it weren't during our PTC.
yeah, that would be a really fun event. You get to see the beautiful city of Calgary with all their not oil fields anymore and all that shit. So I think next week we're going to reconvene. We're going to show off another Kevin Broberg champ card. We're going to get hyped for our PTC coming up July 15th and 16th at Millennium Games and Hobbies. If anybody needs help finding a place to stay, please message us right on our Facebook, Rochester CCG. There's lots of great hotels nearby. It's in a suburb of ours called Henrietta. They have literally everything except Chick-fil-A.
And Chick-fil-A is not far off.
All right, guys, let's call it a night. We'll see you next week. Bye now.
Good night.